The wind howled outside the research station like an angry animal. Jun Kim looked through the thick glass windows at the swirling snow, his warm breath making small clouds on the cold surface. The Alaskan winter was always harsh, but tonight's storm was different. Something about it made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He checked the time on his phone. 11:42 p.m. The small research station, usually home to 5 scientists, now held only him and his equipment. His colleague Du Yun had left 2 days ago for supplies, and the others weren't due back for another week. Jun walked back to his work table, where several plant samples sat under special lights. As a botanist, he studied how Arctic plants survived in such extreme conditions. Tonight, he was supposed to be recording data about moss growth, but his mind kept wandering to the strange lights he'd seen in the sky earlier. The station's lights flickered once, twice, then stayed on. Jun frowned. The backup generator should keep everything running even in the worst storms, but something was interfering with the power. He grabbed his tablet to check the station's systems. That's when he heard it, a deep boom that shook the whole building. It wasn't thunder. The sound was wrong. It came from somewhere in the forest, maybe half a mile away. Jun's first thought was that a plane had gone down. In weather like this, that wouldn't be surprising. He quickly put on his heavy winter gear. Thermal suit, boots rated for extreme cold, gloves, and a face mask. He grabbed the emergency medical kit and a powerful flashlight. "This is probably nothing," he said to himself, checking that his radio was working. But if someone's out there. The moment he stepped outside, the wind tried to knock him over. The temperature was 30 below zero, and the wind made it feel even colder. His flashlight beam cut through the swirling snow, showing him the way to the tree line. Jun followed the GPS on his phone, walking carefully through the deep snow. The trees provided some shelter from the wind, but walking was still difficult. After about 20 minutes, he saw something that made him stop. The trees ahead were glowing with a soft blue light. "Hello," he called out, but the wind carried his voice away. As he got closer, he saw broken branches and a long groove in the snow, as if something had crashed and slid. The blue light came from something large and curved, partially buried in the snow. It looked smooth and metallic, but unlike any metal Jun had ever seen. It wasn't a plane. The shape was all wrong, and there were no markings he recognized. His light revealed what looked like a doorway or hatch, hanging open. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its edge. Jun's heart beat faster. He was looking at something that wasn't from Earth. A sound caught his attention, a soft beeping coming from inside the craft. He moved closer, shining his light through the opening. The inside was filled with panels covered in more glowing symbols, but what caught his attention was the figure slumped in what looked like a pilot's seat. The being wore what appeared to be a sleek environmental suit, but part of it was torn, exposing something underneath that shifted colors like oil on water. A cracked helmet revealed glimpses of a face that was almost human, but not quite. The creature's skin had a slight silvery sheen, and its closed eyes were larger than a human's. As Jun watched, frozen in shock, the being's eyes fluttered open. They were deep purple, with no visible pupils, and they focused directly on him. The creature tried to move but stopped, clearly in pain. It made a sound, a series of musical tones that somehow conveyed distress. Jun knew he should be afraid. He should run back to the station and call someone. The military, NASA, anyone. But all he could think about was that this being was hurt and dying in the cold. The torn suit meant it was exposed to Earth's atmosphere, which was clearly causing it distress. Without hesitation, Jun stepped forward. "I'm going to help you," he said, knowing the alien probably couldn't understand his words. "But you'll have to trust me." The purple eyes studied him for a long moment. Then, slowly, the being reached out one hand. It was a simple gesture, but it would change everything. Not just for Jun, but for all of humanity. Jun's mind raced as he supported the alien's weight. The being was surprisingly light, almost weightless compared to a human. Every few steps, it would make those musical sounds again, each time weaker than before. Just a little further, Heijun said, though he knew his words meant nothing to the alien. The wind howled around them as they struggled through the snow. The research station's lights glowed ahead like a beacon in the storm. The alien's skin was growing paler by the minute, its silvery sheen fading to a dull gray. Heijun remembered his plant experiments, how some species would die if exposed to the wrong environment. Earth's atmosphere was probably just as toxic to this creature as outer space would be to humans. They finally reached the station's door. Heijun punched in the code with shaking fingers. Once inside, he faced a new problem. Where could he put an alien who couldn't breathe Earth's air? Then he remembered his clean room, where he kept his most sensitive plant specimens. It was sealed off from the rest of the station and had its own air filtering system. It wasn't perfect, but it might keep the alien alive until they figure out something better. This way, he said, half carrying the alien down the hallway. The being's environmental suit was leaving a trail of glowing blue droplets on the floor. Heijun would have to clean that up later, but right now, all that mattered was saving this life. The clean room was small, about the size of a bedroom. Heijun quickly pressed the buttons to start the air filtration system. The room's pressure sealed with a soft hiss. He helped the alien sit on the floor, propping it up against the wall. The creature's eyes were half closed now, its breathing shallow. Heijun knew he had to do something about the torn suit. He grabbed his tablet and opened a basic drawing app. With trembling fingers, he drew a simple picture of the alien suit, then drew arrows pointing to the torn area. He held up the tablet. The alien's purple eyes focused on the screen. Slowly, it raised one hand and touched the torn section of its actual suit. From a pocket, it pulled out something that looked like a small silver disc. The alien's fingers were long and graceful, with an extra joint that humans didn't have. Heijun watched in amazement as the alien pressed the disc against the tear in its suit. The disc melted and spread like liquid metal, sealing the hole. Almost immediately, the alien's breathing became easier. Now came the hard part, trying to communicate. Heijun cleared his throat and pointed to himself. "Heijun," he said clearly. The alien watched him for a moment, then made a sound like wind chimes in a soft breeze. Heijun tried to copy the sound but failed completely. The alien's eyes crinkled at the corners. Was that a smile? It pointed to itself and made a shorter sound. "Era." Heijun smiled. "Era," he repeated. It was easier than the other sounds the alien made. He pointed to his tablet, then drew some simple mathematical equations. 2 + 2 = 4, the symbol for pi, a right triangle. Basic concepts that should be universal. Era's eyes brightened. Heijun decided to think of Era as female, based on her delicate features, took the tablet. Her fingers moved quickly, drawing what looked like star patterns and orbital paths. "You're trying to tell me where you're from," Heijun said softly. He drew a simple picture of Earth, then a question mark. Era nodded. Apparently some gestures were universal. She drew a spiral galaxy, then marked 2 points, one for Earth and one much further out. She added more details, showing multiple stars and planets between the points. A loud beeping from Era's suit interrupted them. She pressed some controls on her wrist, and a hologram appeared in the air. Heijun gasped as he saw what looked like a star map, with a blinking red dot moving toward Earth. Era's musical voice took on an urgent tone. She pointed to the red dot, then made a slashing motion across her throat. Another surprisingly universal gesture. Whatever that dot represented, it wasn't friendly. Heijun felt his mouth go dry. He had just helped save an alien's life, made first contact, and learned that Earth might be in danger, all in one night. As he looked at Era's worried face, he knew their problems were just beginning. 3 days had passed since Heijun found Era in the crashed ship. The clean room had become her temporary home, filled with drawings and mathematical equations they used to talk to each other. He-jun had pushed 2 tables together to make a bed for her, covered with clean lab coats for comfort. That morning, He-jun sat cross-legged on the floor outside the clean room's clear wall, sharing breakfast with Era. He ate his rice and eggs, while she consumed something that looked like glowing blue jelly from her suit's emergency supplies. They had developed a routine of eating together, separated by the wall, but still sharing the experience. "Your world is very strange," Era said in her musical language, which He-jun was slowly starting to understand through their makeshift translation system on the tablet. They had created simple pictures and symbols for basic words, and both were learning quickly. "How so?" He-jun drew the question mark they used to show curiosity. Era pulled up images on her suit's hologram display. They showed Earth from space, then zoomed in to show cities, forests, deserts, and oceans. "Your planet has so many different faces, beautiful and dangerous at the same time." He-jun nodded, understanding. To someone from another world, Earth must seem full of contrasts. "Why were you watching us?" he asked through their symbol system. Era's expression became serious. She created a new hologram showing many different alien ships, all watching Earth from far away. "Many species watch Earth," she explained through pictures and gestures. "Some think humans are too dangerous. Others see great potential." "And what do you think?" He-jun drew himself, and then a question mark. Era's skin shimmed with colors. Something He-jun had learned meant she was feeling strong emotions. "I think humans are amazing," she replied, drawing a simple heart symbol that she had learned from watching He-jun's tablet. "You live in a world that could kill you in so many ways, but you don't just survive, you create beautiful things." She projected more images: human art, music, dance, and architecture. He-jun realized these must be recordings from their secret observations of Earth. It was strange seeing his own world through alien eyes. "But some of my people are afraid," Era continued, showing scenes of wars and environmental destruction. "They see only the damage humans can cause." He-jun felt both proud and ashamed as he watched the images. Humans could be both wonderful and terrible, often at the same time. "We're trying to be better," he wrote on the tablet. "Many of us want to protect our world, not destroy it." Era's eyes crinkled in what He-jun now knew was a smile. She pulled up an image of her own world, a planet with 2 moons and rings like Saturn. The cities there looked like they were made of crystal and light. "My home," she explained through their symbols. "We learned to live without damaging our world, but we lost something too. We became careful, too careful. We stopped exploring, stopped taking risks." She pointed to He-jun. "Humans still have that fire, that desire to reach for the stars." Suddenly, Era's suit beeped again, the same urgent sound from 3 days ago. The hologram showed the red dot moving closer to Earth. Era's skin paled to a worried gray color. "Bad people coming," she wrote quickly on the tablet. "They want Earth's air." "Our air?" He-jun was confused. "But it's toxic to your people." Era drew rapidly. Pictures of sick aliens, then Earth's atmosphere, then something that looked like medicine. "Earth's air has special elements," she explained through drawings. "Can cure many diseases for my people, but taking it would hurt Earth." He-jun felt his heart sink. He understood now. Earth was both a treasure and a threat to Era's people. Some wanted to protect it, while others wanted to use it, no matter the cost to humans. Era placed her hand against the clear wall. He-jun put his hand on the other side, matching her gesture. They couldn't touch, but the meaning was clear. They would face whatever was coming together. Outside, the Alaskan wind howled, as if warning of the storm that was about to break over not just the research station, but all of Earth. He-jun was making his morning coffee when he heard the sound of an approaching snowmobile. His heart jumped into his throat. Do-yeon was back early. He rushed to the clean room where Era was examining Earth plants through the clear wall. "Someone's coming," he said through their symbol system. "A friend, but we must be careful." Era quickly dimmed her suit's lights and moved to the corner of the clean room, where she would be less visible from the hallway. Just then, the station's front door opened, and Du Yan's voice rang out. "He-jun, are you here?" The supply run was shorter than expected. He-jun took a deep breath and walked to meet his friend. Du Yan was removing her heavy winter gear, her cheeks red from the cold. She stopped when she saw He-jun's face. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Du Yan, I need you to promise you'll stay calm," He-jun said slowly. "Something happened while you were gone. Something big." Du Yan's eyes narrowed. "Did one of the experiments go wrong?" "No, it's..." He-jun ran his hands through his hair. "It's better if I show you. But please, remember that she's friendly, and I trust her." "She? Who's she?" Du Yan followed He-jun down the hallway. When they reached the clean room, she stopped dead in her tracks. Through the clear wall, Era was visible, her silvery skin catching the light. Du Yan's mouth opened and closed several times before she could speak. That's not an alien, yes," He-jun said quickly. "Her name is Era. Her ship crashed in the storm 4 days ago. She can't breathe our air, so I put her in the clean room." Era moved forward slowly and raised her hand in greeting. Her skin shifted to warm, welcoming colors, something He-jun had learned meant she was trying to appear friendly. Du Yan backed up against the wall. "We need to call someone. The military, or..." "No." He-jun stepped between Du Yan and the hallway. "Please, let me explain first. There's so much you don't understand." Just then, a loud beeping came from Era's suit. Her hologram display showed the red dot was now much closer to Earth. She made urgent gestures at He-jun. "What's that?" Du Yan asked, her scientific curiosity starting to overcome her fear. He-jun quickly explained about the approaching threat, about how some aliens wanted to harvest Earth's atmosphere despite the harm it would cause. As he talked, Du Yan's expression changed from fear to concern to determination. "So we're in danger, but we can't tell anyone because it might cause panic?" she asked. "And because some humans might try to hurt Era," He-jun added. "She's risking everything to warn us." Du Yan walked closer to the clear wall, studying Era with new eyes. "Can she understand us?" He-jun showed her their tablet full of symbols and drawings. "We're learning to communicate. Era's people have been watching Earth for years. They're advanced, but they're divided about how to deal with us." Suddenly, all the lights in the station flickered. Era's hologram display filled with warning symbols. She quickly drew on the tablet. "They're scanning your planet, looking for me." Du Yan watched the alien symbols flash across the hologram. "I'm going to regret this," she muttered, then straightened her shoulders. "Okay, what do you need me to do?" Before He-jun could answer, his phone beeped. It was a message from their supervisor. "Unusual satellite readings over your location. Military aircraft being dispatched to investigate. Stay inside. Maintain radio silence." The three of them looked at each other through the clear wall. They had maybe hours before the military arrived, and no way to explain an alien in their clean room. "We need a plan," Du Yan said, her practical nature taking over. "And we need it fast." Era's skin had turned a deep, worried gray, but her purple eyes were determined. She began drawing on the tablet, not just symbols this time, but what looked like a blueprint. Whatever she had in mind, it would have to work. The clock was ticking, and trouble was coming from both above and below. Du Yan paced back and forth, while He-jun watched Era draw on their tablet. The military would arrive in a few hours, and they needed to understand exactly what they were facing. "Show us again," He-jun said to Era. "Why is Earth's air so special to your people?" Era nodded and activated her suit's hologram display. This time, she showed them something new. Images of her people sick in hospitals, their normally shimmering skin dull and lifeless. "The great sickness," she wrote on the tablet. Through their symbol system, She explained how a disease had spread through her people over the last 100 years. It made their bodies unable to process certain types of energy they needed to live. But Earth's air has something that helps. Du Yan asked, watching Heijun translate through their symbols. Era's skin rippled with excitement as she showed them a complex molecular diagram. Even with their limited communication, she managed to explain that Earth's atmosphere contained rare elements that could cure the great sickness. These elements were created by the unique mix of Earth's plant life, ocean chemistry, and atmospheric conditions. That's why some of your people want to take our air, Heijun realized. They're desperate for a cure. Era's skin darkened with what they now knew was sadness. She drew more pictures, showing large ships with machines that could strip away Earth's atmosphere, processing it into medicine. But the images that followed showed Earth becoming like Mars, a dead, airless world. They don't care that it would kill us, Du Yan said quietly. Era shook her head firmly. She drew a new set of images, showing her own people divided into two groups. One group wanted to take Earth's air by force. The other group, led by someone called Elder Nix, wanted to find a way to work with humans, to share the cure without destroying Earth. Your ship, Heijun wrote on the tablet. Why did you crash? Era's hands trembled slightly as she drew. She had been part of a secret mission to contact humans, to try to form an alliance before the aggressive faction could attack. But they had discovered her mission and shot down her ship. Just then, all their phones buzzed at once. It was an alert from the station's security system. A vehicle was approaching. Through the window, they could see a large snow truck making its way toward them. That's not military, Du Yan said, checking the cameras. It's Jai-Ho, the park ranger. He probably saw the lights from Era's crash. Heijun felt panic rising in his chest. One person knowing about Era was risky. 2 was dangerous. 3 might be impossible to keep secret. But Era was already drawing something new on the tablet. She showed them a simple plan. Earth's plants were the key to producing the healing elements in the air. If they could understand exactly how this process worked, they might find a way to reproduce it on her world. You're a botanist, Du Yan said to Heijun, her eyes widening. And I'm a chemist, with Era's knowledge. We might find a way to help her people without destroying Earth. Heijun finished. The sound of the snow truck's engine grew louder outside. They had to decide quickly what to do about Jai-Ho. Era's skin had taken on a new color they hadn't seen before, a swirling mix of hope and fear. Through the window, they could see Jai-Ho getting out of his truck. He was carrying something that looked like scientific equipment. On the tablet, Era quickly wrote, "He has readings from my crash. He knows something fell from space." Heijun and Du Yan looked at each other. They had wanted to keep Era secret, but maybe they needed more help. After all, saving Earth would take more than just 3 people, even if one of them was from another planet. Let him in, Heijun decided. But first, Era, show us everything you know about these healing elements. If we're going to convince him to help us, we need to understand exactly what we're fighting for. Era nodded and began to draw, her fingers flying across the tablet. Outside, Jai-Ho's boots crunched in the snow as he walked toward the station's door. The race to save 2 worlds was about to gain another runner. Jai-Ho turned out to be exactly what they needed. As a ranger who had worked in Alaska for 15 years, he knew how to keep secrets and work quietly. He sat in front of the clean room's clear wall, watching Era with wonder rather than fear. "I've been tracking strange lights in the sky for months," he told them, showing readings from his equipment. "But I never expected this." Era was drawing on the tablet again, but Heijun noticed her hands were shaking slightly. She had been awake for many hours, trying to explain everything to their new ally. Her skin had taken on a tired, pale color. "You need to rest," Heijun wrote on the tablet. The others were taking a break in the station's kitchen, leaving him alone with Era. "No time," she wrote back. "Danger coming." Heijun pressed his hand against the clear wall. After a moment, Era pressed her hand against the other side. Even through the barrier, he could feel a slight warmth where their hands almost met. "Tell me about your home," he wrote. "Not the problems. The good things." Era's skin shifted to softer colors. She activated her hologram, but instead of showing more warning signals or scientific data, she displayed images of her world. Hejun saw beautiful crystal cities that changed colors with the setting of twin suns. Gardens floated in the air, their plants unlike anything on Earth. Children with silvery skin played in parks where the grass glowed and the trees sang in the wind. "Beautiful," Hejun wrote. "Different from Earth," Era replied, "but both beautiful in their own ways." She showed him more images, Earth's oceans, forests, and mountains, but seen through her people's eyes. They could see colors humans couldn't, patterns in nature that human eyes missed. "Why did you really come to Earth?" Hejun asked through their symbols. "Not just for the mission." Era's skin rippled with colors that Hejun had learned meant embarrassment. She drew slowly on the tablet. "I was curious. About humans. About you. About me. Humans feel so much," she wrote. "You love deeply. Fear strongly. Hope completely. My people, we try to remove emotions, to be logical, but we lost something important." Hejun thought about this. "Is that why some of your people want to take our air by force? They've lost the ability to care about others." Era's skin darkened with sadness. "Some have, but not all. She paused in her drawing. "I feel things. Strongly, like humans do. My people say I'm damage. Different." "You're not damage," Hejun wrote quickly. "You're perfect as you are." Era's skin bloomed with new colors, bright, swirling patterns that Hejun had never seen before. She started to write something, but alarms suddenly blared through the station. Du Yun and Jiho ran back into the room. "Multiple vehicles approaching," Du Yun said, checking the security screens. "Military trucks. At least 5 of them." At the same time, Era's suit began beeping urgently. The hologram showed 3 ships entering Earth's atmosphere, heading straight for their location. Her skin paled to almost white with fear. "They found me," she wrote rapidly. Both threats coming at once. Hejun felt torn. Part of him wanted to hide Era, protect her from both human and alien forces that might harm her. But he saw the determination in her eyes and knew she wouldn't run. "We need a plan," Jiho said, always practical. "We have maybe 20 minutes before they arrive." Hejun looked at Era through the clear wall. Despite everything, despite the danger and fear, he realized something. He had fallen in love with her. Not just her alien beauty or her fascinating culture, but her bravery, her kindness, her way of seeing the world with both logic and feeling. "Together," he wrote on the tablet. "Whatever happens, we face it together." Era's skin showed those beautiful, swirling colors again. She wrote one word: together. Through the station's windows, they could see the northern lights dancing in the sky. Soon those lights would be joined by approaching vehicles and alien ships. But in that moment, Hejun and Era shared something that went beyond words or symbols or even worlds, a connection that might just be strong enough to save them all. The military vehicle's headlights cut through the darkness as they approached the research station. Above, 3 spots of blue light grew larger in the night sky. The alien ships. Hejun, Du Yun, and Jiho worked quickly to put their plan into action. "Are you sure about this?" Du Yun asked, helping Hejun gather his plant samples and research data. "No," Hejun admitted, "but it's our best chance." In the clean room, Era was rapidly typing on a control panel built into her suit. Her skin flickered between worried gray and determined blue colors. Through their tablet, she wrote, "My people coming are not friendly. They will take what they want by force." Jiho watched the approaching lights through his binoculars. 5 military Humvees. They're armed. And those ships up there, they're not even trying to hide anymore. Hejun walked to the clear wall. "Era," He wrote on the tablet. You said Elder Nix wants peace. Can you contact them? Era's fingers flew across her suit's controls, but she shook her head. The hostile ships were blocking her signals. On her hologram display, the 3 enemy ships were now clearly visible, their designs sleek and predatory. Suddenly, the station's radio crackled to life. This is Colonel Park of the United States Air Force. We have detected unauthorized aerial activity in your area. Exit the building with your hands up. At the same time, a new voice filled the air, not through the radio, but somehow directly in their heads. It spoke English, but with a strange musical quality similar to Era's natural voice. This is Commander Vec of the Lyrian Collection Fleet. We know you harbor a traitor. Surrender her, and the atmospheric processing will be quick. Resist, and we will take what we need by force. Era's skin turned almost white with fear, but her purple eyes were fierce. She wrote quickly, Vec is a war criminal. He leads the faction that wants to steal Earth's air. Many of my people oppose him, but he is powerful. He-Jun looked at his friends. Du-Yun was checking the station's systems one last time. Ji-Ho had positioned himself by the window with his ranger's rifle, though they all knew it would be useless against alien ships. We're out of time, Du-Yen said. We have to choose. Try to explain to the military, or... Before she could finish, bright beams of light shot down from the alien ships, forming a circle around the research station. The military vehicles stopped just outside this circle of light. Final warning. Colonel Park's voice came through the radio. Exit the building now. Commander Vec's voice followed. Surrender the traitor, or we begin atmospheric extraction. Your military weapons cannot harm our ships. He-Jun pressed his hand against the clear wall. Era pressed back from her side. In that moment, he made his decision. Ji-Ho, he said, use your ranger authority. Call Colonel Park. Tell him everything. Du-Yun, show Era's data about the atmospheric processing. The military needs to know what these ships can do to Earth. And you? Du-Yun asked. He-Jun picked up their tablet with all its drawings and symbols. I'm going to talk to Commander Vec. He needs to know that we found another way. A way to help his people without destroying ours. Era's skin swirled with worried colors. She wrote frantically, Vec will not listen. He enjoys causing pain. Please don't risk yourself. But He-Jun had already started walking toward the station's door. Through the clear wall, he saw Era pressing her hands against the barrier, her expression desperate. He held up the tablet one last time and wrote, Trust me. Outside, the northern lights danced above the alien ships, their colors mixing with the harsh spotlights from the military vehicles. He-Jun took a deep breath of the cold Alaskan air, the same air that could save Era's people or doom his own. Behind him, his friends watched with fear and hope. Above him, 3 alien ships hummed with deadly power. And in front of him, a line of military vehicles waited with weapons ready. The next few minutes would determine the fate of 2 worlds. He-Jun clutched the tablet to his chest and began walking forward through the snow, ready to either make history or become a cautionary tale about what happens when 2 civilizations collide. He-Jun walked into the space between the military vehicles and the alien ship's light beams. Snow crunched under his boots, and his breath made small clouds in the cold air. He held the tablet up high so both sides could see it. My name is He-Jun Kim, he shouted. I'm a botanist, and I have information both sides need to hear. Colonel Park stepped out of his vehicle, his hand on his gun. Mr. Kim, you are interfering with a military operation. Stand down. From above, Commander Vec's voice boomed. The human speaks truth. He harbors our traitor. Stand aside while we take what we need. He-Jun took another step forward. You're both wrong. There's another way. He held up the tablet. We've found a solution that can help everyone. Inside the station, Era watched through the clear wall, her skin shifting between fear and hope colors. Du-Yun and Ji-Ho stood beside her, ready with their part of the plan. The Lyrians need elements from our air to cure a disease, He-Jun continued. But we've discovered something they don't know. The elements they need aren't just in our air. They're created by our plants. Colonel Park frowned. Plants? What are you talking about? A beam of light shot down from one of the alien ships, scanning the tablet in He-Jun's hands. Commander Vex's voice came again, but with a new tone. Surprise. These formulas. Impossible. Our scientists spent years studying Earth's atmosphere. But you never worked with humans, He-Jun said. You never combined your knowledge with ours. Look at the data. Earth's plants don't just release oxygen. They create complex compounds your people need. And we can help you reproduce this process on your world. Suddenly, a new light appeared in the sky, brighter and more powerful than the others. A fourth ship descended, its design more elegant than Vex vessels. Era's skin lit up with joy. Through the station speakers, she sent out a series of musical tones. The new ship responded with similar sounds. Elder Nix, Commander Vex's voice held both respect and fear. This is not your concern. You overstep, Commander. Elder Nix's voice was like wind chimes, but carried great authority. These humans offer cooperation, while you threaten destruction. He-Jun held up the tablet again. We can help each other. The research station's plants already produce small amounts of the elements you need. With Lyrian technology and human botanical knowledge, we could grow enough to cure your people without harming Earth. Colonel Park stepped closer, studying the tablet. You're saying these aliens, they're sick, and our plants can help them. Yes, He-Jun said, but only if we work together. If we fight, both worlds lose. Commander Vex's ships powered up their weapons. You are all fools. We take what we need. That is the way of survival. No, Elder Nix's voice rang out. That is the way of fear. Look at these humans, Vex. They found one of our own, hurt and alone. Instead of fear or violence, they showed kindness. They sought understanding. They found a solution we could not see. Inside the station, Era couldn't wait any longer. She pressed buttons on her suit, and the clean room's door opened with a hiss. Before anyone could stop her, she walked out, breathing Earth's air for the first time. Era, no. He-Jun turned to run to her, but stopped in amazement. Instead of collapsing, Era stood tall. Her suit had changed, forming a thin, transparent layer that somehow filtered the air. Her skin glowed with bright, swirling colors. My choice, she said in perfect English, her suit translating. Trust goes both ways. She walked to He-Jun's side and took the tablet. Together, they faced both the military and the alien ships. I believe in humans, Era announced. They showed me that strength comes not from taking, but from sharing. Not from fear, but from hope. Elder Nix's ship descended further. Commander Vex's vessels powered down their weapons, and Colonel Park, after a long moment, holstered his gun. The choice had been made. Now, they would all face the consequences together. 6 months had passed since that snowy night when humans and Lyrians first met officially. The research station had grown, with new buildings spreading out across the Alaskan landscape. Inside the main laboratory, He-Jun and Era worked side by side, no longer separated by a clear wall. The third batch is ready, He-Jun said, checking the readings on their new equipment. The lab was a perfect blend of human and Lyrian technology. Plants from Earth grew in special chambers designed by Lyrian scientists, producing the healing elements their people needed. Era's skin shimmered with happy colors as she examined the results. Her new environmental suit was so thin it looked like she wasn't wearing one at all. Perfect, she said, her translator making her musical voice understandable to everyone. Elder Nix will be pleased. In another part of the lab, Du-Yun worked with Lyrian scientists, studying how Earth plants created these special elements. Jeho had become the station's head of security, managing both human and alien visitors with his calm, practical nature. Commander Vex's trial starts next week, Du-Yun mentioned, looking up from her work. After the confrontation, the Lyrian Council had arrested Vec for his attempts to attack Earth. "Will you two be testifying?" Through video link, Era said, "We're too busy here to travel to my world." Her skin flickered with colors that Hejun now recognized as love when she looked at him. "Besides, Earth is my home now too." Colonel Park, who had become one of their strongest supporters in the military, walked into the lab. "The next group of scientists arrives tomorrow," he announced. 3 humans and 2 Lyrians. "The exchange program is growing." Hejun smiled, remembering how things had changed. After that night, both governments had agreed to keep the contact limited at first. The research station became Earth's first official meeting point between humans and aliens. Scientists from both worlds came to study and learn from each other. "Did you finish the treaty paperwork?" Du Yun asked Hejun. He nodded. The new agreement was simple. Earth would provide the healing elements to the Lyrians, grown safely and sustainably in special facilities. In return, the Lyrians would share some of their technology, particularly their medical and environmental knowledge. "Helder Nick says more worlds want to open relations with Earth now," Era said, her skin showing proud colors. "They see how we solved our problems together. They're calling Earth a model for peaceful first contact." Hejun took Era's hand, still amazed at how natural it felt despite their differences. "Not bad for a crashed ship in a snowstorm," he said. Through the lab's windows, they could see more buildings under construction. The research station was becoming a small city, a place where humans and aliens could meet, work, and learn from each other. Some called it First Contact City, though Hejun preferred its official name, New Horizon Station. "The new gardens are almost ready," Jaiho reported, coming in from his rounds. The station now had huge greenhouses where they grew the special plants needed for the Lyrian cure. The viewing area for visitors opens next month. They had decided to allow limited public tours of the facility. People needed to see that aliens weren't something to fear, that cooperation was possible. Every week, carefully selected groups would visit to see humans and Lyrians working together. Era walked to the window, looking out at the Alaskan wilderness. "My people once thought Earth was too dangerous to contact," she said. "We only saw the storms, the conflicts, the harsh environment. We didn't see the beauty, the strength, the capacity for love." She turned to Hejun. "We didn't see you." Hejun joined her at the window. Above them, the northern lights danced in the sky, but now they shared that sky with Lyrian ships coming and going peacefully. On the ground, humans and aliens walked together between buildings, sharing ideas and making plans for the future. "Earth is both," Hejun said. "Paradise and nightmare, harsh and beautiful, dangerous and welcoming. Just like your world, just like all worlds probably are. The trick is learning to see both sides and choosing to focus on what brings us together rather than what keeps us apart." Era's skin showed those special swirling colors that were just for him. Outside, another ship was landing, bringing more visitors to their growing community. The story of Earth and its first alien visitors was just beginning, but thanks to love, trust, and understanding, it was already on the right path. The end.